Have you ever caught yourself doing this? You wake up, you stumble into the bathroom, you flick on those incredibly harsh overhead lights.
Oh, the absolute worst lighting.
Right, the absolute worst. And before you've even fully opened your eyes or, had a single sip of coffee, you are already looking in the mirror and just searching for flaws.
Just zeroing right in.
Exactly. You spot a new wrinkle or maybe a bit of bloating or a blemish. I mean, you are basically putting yourself on trial before breakfast.
Yeah, it's a rough way to start the day.
And what's crazy is we often think this self-shaming is actually helping us. Like we think it's the necessary fuel for self-improvement. But today on the deep dive, we're going to show you how that morning trial isn't just hurting your feelings. It is biologically short-circuiting your ability to change.
It really is. It's almost a reflexive habit for so many people. I mean, we start the day from an immediate deficit.
Which is exactly why we're unpacking this today. We're pulling from a really insightful transcript from the Any Questions video series, specifically an installment called Love Your Body Back.
Yeah, that's from their broader series, She Rises, Stress Less, Shine More.
Right. And our mission today is to unpack this profound concept of loving your body back, which was originally coined by Tony Pretorius, by the way, and to look at the actual mechanics of why we do this to ourselves.
And more importantly, how shifting away from that physical self-loathing can actually unlock this unexpected, massive surplus of daily energy.
Okay, let's unpack this, because we live in a world that fundamentally profits from our insecurity.
Well, look, hundreds of billions of dollars.
Right. Whether it's the texture of our skin, the number on the scale, how we move, the messaging is constant. And over time, that external messaging becomes this internalized, low-level hum of judgment.
It just becomes the background noise of your life.
Yeah, we develop this bizarre societal belief that we can somehow care for our bodies by, like, punishing them into submission. It's like, okay, think about having a really bad boss. A boss who tries to motivate you purely through fear and constant extreme criticism.
You'd be miserable.
You'd burn out. The employee, which in this case is your body, just eventually shuts down. So why do we collectively believe that shame is a valid fuel source for self-improvement?
Well, what's fascinating here is that we treat shame like it's this renewable energy source for motivation when it's actually toxic. The source material brings in this incredibly potent observation from Brené Brown.
Oh, I love her work.
It's so good. She says, shame corrodes the very part of us that believes we are capable of change.
Wow. Corrodes the very part.
Exactly. If your starting point is self-loathing, you are actively destroying the psychological foundation required for growth.
Yeah.
And here's where it gets really wild. It goes much deeper than just psychology.
Okay.
If we look at the actual biology of what happens when you stare in that mirror and think, oh, I hate this, it is alarming. Your brain's fear center, the amygdala, it actually does not differentiate between a physical threat and an emotional one.
Wait, really? So my brain cannot tell the difference between a real-world danger and my own internal criticism?
Not at the chemical level, no. I mean, your brain evolved to keep you safe from predators, right?
Right.
So when you direct intense negativity and shame toward your own physical form, your nervous system responds as if you are under physical attack.
That is wild.
It triggers your fight or flight response. Your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone. So you essentially trap yourself in a chronic state of low-grade biological stress.
Just by looking in the mirror and being mean to yourself?
Just by doing that, you are telling your nervous system that you are unsafe in your own skin, which, totally defeats the whole stress-less goal of the source material we're talking about.
That completely reframes the entire morning routine. I mean, I always assumed a fleeting bad thought in the mirror was harmless, like maybe just a brief bad mood.
Right, something you just shake off.
Yeah. But what you are saying is that I am triggering a physiological state that prevents the very health I am trying to achieve. It's like trying to drive a car by pouring sugar in the gas tank while slamming on the brakes.
Oh, that is a great way to put it.
You might hear the engine revving wildly, which is that stress response, but you are actively destroying the internal machinery.
That analogy hits the nail on the head. You just can't move toward wellness or health or true radiance when your body biologically believes it is in danger from its own inner monologue.
Wow.
The entire goal of reducing stress just falls apart when the primary source of the stress is the way you speak to your own reflection.
Okay, so since shame is completely failing us as a motivator, both psychologically and biologically. That means we have to fundamentally restructure the entire dynamic.
You do. We have to completely change the mechanism of how we interact with our physical selves.
So what does this all mean in practice?
Well, according to the source, this requires a shift from a transactional mindset to a relational mindset.
Transactional meaning conditional.
Exactly. Right now, most of us operate transactionally with our bodies. We basically say, I will only care for you or speak kindly to you if you behave exactly the way I want.
Right. I'll love you if you fit into these jeans.
Or if your skin is completely clear today, it's highly conditional.
It is a business deal. And honestly, a bad one at that.
A terrible business deal. So the relational shift means viewing your body not as this piece of machinery you're just trying to optimize, but as a lifelong partner. I mean, it is quite literally the only true home you will ever inhabit. There's this really powerful analogy in the source about treating your body the way you would treat your best friend.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Think about it. If your best friend came to you completely exhausted after a grueling week, their body aching, you would never look at them and say, you are so lazy, your stomach looks terrible, you need to go force yourself on a 5-mile run right now.
No, of course not.
Right. You'd offer a warm drink, a blanket, maybe tell them to get some rest.
I hear that. And I mean, treating the body like a best friend sounds wonderful in theory, but honestly, I have to push back a little because it feels a bit utopian.
Fair enough. How so?
Well, if I am running late for a meeting, I am super stressed and my clothes aren't fitting right. My brain is not going to gently offer me a warm blanket and a cup of tea. It is going to panic.
Right.
The inner critic is practically screaming in my ear. So when you have decades of conditioning telling you to hate what you see, how do you actually practically intercept that?
That is the million-dollar question. And the source has a very specific, actionable first step for this. It's not about flipping a switch to absolute self-love instantly. It's about silence.
Silence. Okay, when you say silence, my mind immediately jumps to, like, meditation, sitting on a cushion for an hour.
No. This is much more active than just sitting quietly. It's a deliberate interruption.
Walk me through it.
The practice is to catch yourself the very second you start spiraling into a session of body shaming and physically pause. You literally stop the internal monologue mid-sentence.
Let's cut it off.
Cut it off. You take a deep breath. You place a hand over your heart. And in that manufactured moment of silence, you force your brain to acknowledge the unseen miracles your body is performing right in that exact second without you even asking.
So you are shifting the focus from the aesthetic to the autonomic.
Exactly. The heart pumping blood, your lungs expanding.
It's focusing on what it's doing, not how it looks.
Right. Your cells are regenerating, your digestion is extracting nutrients, your immune system is constantly fighting off microscopic pathogens. I mean, your body is executing millions of complex tasks perfectly just to keep you upright.
And we routinely ignore all of that immense effort just to hyper-focus on, like, a single perceived aesthetic flaw.
Exactly. There's this brilliant concept from the writer Anne Lamott that the source references. She personifies that hypercritical voice perfectly. She describes her inner critic as a mean old woman sitting on her shoulder.
Oh my God.
Just constantly whispering that she isn't good enough or thin enough or smart enough.
Oh, I know that mean old woman intimately. I mean, mine sounds like an IRS auditor who hasn't slept in 3 days, just constantly listing every minor infraction.
Ha! Yes, we all have our own version of her. And Lamott's empowering response, which is a phenomenal tool you can adopt, is simply to acknowledge her without engaging in a debate.
Okay, so what do you say to her?
You just say, thank you for your input, but I've got this.
Thank you for your input, but I've got this. That is fantastic.
Yep.
It completely strips the critic of its power.
It really does.
Because you aren't arguing with it. Arguing just creates more cognitive load. You are just dismissing it with polite authority. Like, thanks for the concern, but I am driving the car now.
Exactly. And you bring up something really crucial there about cognitive load. Hating yourself all day is exhausting.
Oh, it really is.
It takes a massive amount of background processing power. Think of your brain like a smartphone. Body shaming is an app running in the background, constantly draining your battery while you're trying to use other features.
Just eating up all your battery life.
Exactly. But when you finally force quit that app, when you stop the self-loathing, you suddenly have this massive surplus of energy.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because you get your bandwidth back.
You get it back, and you can pour it into your passions, your relationships, your actual purpose. This ties right into the concept of shining more from the source, because once you reclaim that energy, It completely redefines why we engage in healthy habits to begin with.
It removes punishment from the equation.
It removes the punishment entirely.
You know, it makes me think of an analogy. It's like the difference between doing agonizing home renovations just because you absolutely hate the house.
Oh, I like this.
Right. You think it's ugly, you're embarrassed by it, and you just want to slap some paint on it so you
Yeah.
can sell it and escape.
Mm.
Contrast that with lovingly tending to a garden at a house you plan to live in forever. In both scenarios, you are sweating, you are working hard, you are pulling weeds. But in the first, the labor is driven by resentment. In the second, the labor is driven by a desire to nurture a space you intend to inhabit for a lifetime.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that is the exact paradigm shift the source is talking about. The labor is present in both, but the intention changes the biological response.
Yeah.
Under the old shame-based model, you exercise because you hate your legs and you want to shrink them. Your body physically feels the stress of that resentment.
It knows it's being punished.
Right. But under the love your body back model, you exercise because you crave the rush of endorphins. You want to feel the structural strength of your muscles. You want to celebrate the absolute miracle of simply being able to move your body through space.
And it changes how we approach food, too. Like, we start eating nourishing foods because we actually want ourselves to be vibrant and energized, not because we're trying to restrict calories or do penance for a quote-unquote bad meal the day before.
Exactly.
Even something as simple as washing your face. Viewing your skincare routine as a quiet, tactile ritual of kindness at the end of a long day rather than a frantic, stressed attempt to fix a blemish before someone sees it.
And this makes a very crucial distinction that often gets misunderstood. Loving your body back is the polar opposite of what society disparagingly calls letting yourself go.
Oh, that's such an important point.
It is not about abandoning your health or just giving up on yourself. It is about honoring your health because you actually respect yourself enough to care for your physical form.
Yeah, the motivation moves from an external fear of judgment to internal respect and stewardship.
Exactly.
It's a profound shift in philosophy. But, you know, philosophy is just theory until you actually apply it.
Very true.
So how do we actively rewire this? Because my brain is deeply grooved to look for the cracks. It feels like there is a massive superhighway in my brain built specifically for self-criticism, and the path for self-love is totally overgrown.
That is a perfect description of neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
Neurons that fire together, wired together. Every time you criticize yourself, you pave that superhighway.
So how do I break it?
To change it, you have to consciously bushwhack a new trail until the old highway breaks down from disuse. And the source gives us a very practical tool for doing this. It's an experiment called the 7-day gratitude pivot.
Okay, let's walk through the mechanics of this experiment.
The rules are incredibly simple, but they require relentless consistency. For the next 7 days, every single time you catch yourself thinking a negative thought about your body, you must immediately pivot to finding one functional thing you are grateful your body does.
Okay.
It is a forced, conscious interruption of that neural pathway.
So we have to move from form to function. Let me see if I've got this. If I am looking down and thinking my legs look heavy or tired, I immediately pivot and thank them for having the physical stamina to carry me through a grueling commute.
Exactly.
Or, if I am frustrated by a bloated stomach, I intercept that thought and thank my digestive system for actively processing nourishment to keep my brain running.
You've got it.
Okay.
Or let's say you find yourself inspecting an aging face and stressing over fine lines.
Ugh.
You pivot to thanking the muscles in your face for the thousands of smiles, laughs, and deep expressions you have been able to share with the people you love.
Oh, I love that.
You are forcing the brain to acknowledge the utility and the history of the body rather than just the superficial aesthetic.
I have to push back slightly here, though, because I think a lot of people might hit a wall with this.
Okay, let's hear it.
Does forcing this kind of gratitude actually rewrite the internal narrative? Or is it just like a toxic positivity bandage?
That's a really fair question.
Because if I am genuinely upset about how my clothes are fitting, or I am feeling physically uncomfortable in my skin, just saying, thanks for the energy, stomach, doesn't magically fix the sting of that moment. Does this actually work, or are we just pretending?
This raises an important question, and it's a very important distinction to make. The goal is absolutely not toxic positivity.
Okay, good.
You do not have to stand in the mirror and pretend you love everything about your appearance every single second of the day. Delusion is not the goal here. But remember the biology we discussed earlier. By stepping out of the cycle of active shame, you are turning off the cortisol faucet. You are stopping the chronic stress response.
You were pulling the sugar out of the gas tank.
You are. When you execute that gratitude pivot, even if you do not fully feel the gratitude in your core right away, you are creating a neutral, safe environment within your nervous system.
Okay, I see.
You are starving the insecurity of the biological stress it needs to survive. And from that place of neurological safety, authentic self-expression and genuine care can actually emerge. You are fundamentally changing the soil in which your self-perception grows.
So the pivot isn't like a magic spell that makes you instantly love your reflection. It is a biological tool to signal safety to the brain.
Exactly. And that safety allows you to internalize a profound reassurance, which the source states so beautifully. You are worthy of respect right now, exactly as you are.
Right.
Not when you lose 10 pounds. Not when your skin clears up. Not when you meet some arbitrary, ever-changing standard set by an industry that literally profits from your self-doubt. Right now. Today.
That brings the whole concept of loving your body back into sharp focus.
Hmm.
It's not a destination you arrive at once you finally manage to look the way you want. It's the vehicle you use to navigate your life with peace and bandwidth.
You are permanently abandoning the corrosive fuel of shame.
So, to synthesize this journey for you listening, we are really talking about a massive reclamation project here.
A total overhaul.
We are dismantling that toxic transactional relationship where you only grant yourself conditional love. We are shifting to a deeply relational mindset where your body is viewed as your lifelong partner, your only true home. And most importantly, we are reclaiming all of that wasted mental energy that drained smartphone battery through the active daily practice of the gratitude pivot. We are rewiring the brain to focus on the miraculous functional things our bodies execute perfectly every single second.
It is about remembering that your physical form is not a billboard for the world to judge and critique. It is the vessel carrying your spirit through another day of this life.
Beautifully said. And I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as you go about your day. We talked earlier about the biology of this elampiness, how our bodies literally absorb the unsafe signals of our own harsh criticisms, and how our cells feel the physical stress of our self-loathing.
Right.
But think about the reverse of that mechanism. What happens to the physical world around us, our homes, our workplaces, the people we interact with, when we finally start broadcasting the profound, unwavering safety of deep self-acceptance?
Wow.
If a stressed, ashamed mind creates a biologically stressed body, could a radically accepted body create a more compassionate environment? Could loving your body back actually be the very first necessary step to healing the world around you?
That is something to think about.
Let that linger next time you catch your reflection in the mirror. Catch you next time.